So our sky is just a bunch of particles, right? Like scattering the light from the sun, giving it a hazy blue color. You remove that and we would be basically seeing space from Earth with sun and the stars together.
Like imagine having space souvenirs from interstellar travels, like a rock from the moon or sand from Mars or the dust from a supernova in the palm of your hand. And how would it be to have a galactic code as your address, like M31 Alpha 96782, meaning the Andromeda Galaxy M31, Alpha Andromeda as your star, the 9th planet, the 6th continent, and so on.
And I was watching this talk about a man who traveled the world for a bunch of years, just for the fun of it. Imagine doing the same in the future, but in space, traveling to distant worlds and their moons.
Or imagine taking a submarine ride in the subsurface ocean of Europa, in that cold water, knowing that you're in that exact spot in space, the solar system, Jupiter, its moon Europa, and its underground ocean.
Hey Curious Bear, this is Suraj.
And I'm Pratham.
On this channel, we discuss our thoughts and have a deep talk on an intriguing topic and see where the conversation takes us. So Pratham, before we start, let me ask you one question. At this moment, if you were given a choice, what would be the maximum amount of money that you would be willing to spend to go to space? And when I say space, I actually mean what Richard Branson and Jeff Bezos did, like not the actual space. We'll get into the details later, but yeah, what would be the maximum amount of money? Let's see.
Well, considering they just went into orbit and it was only for a few minutes, no? I think each of the flight.
I think like 12 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. But man, it would be a crazy experience to actually experience that zero gravity naturally and not in a simulated environment. But an amount of money, maybe like, I wouldn't want to put a number on it, but maybe like probably half my annual salary or something like that. But moreover, I'd be looking forward to an actual experience like going to the moon or Mars, like stepping on something and really being able to step out and experience it. Or even a spacewalk. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, that's awesome actually.
How about you?
Nice. Me, yeah, I think you put it better. Even I wouldn't want to put a number like half my annual salary seems better. But I actually want to catch you on one thing that you mentioned, like experience zero gravity or weightlessness for real over there. Many people think that because they're in space, they feel the weightlessness, but it's actually because they're falling towards Earth at all times that they feel that weightlessness. And actually, just to get this concept, straight, there was a really good demonstration that I had heard, and like a thought experiment, basically. So if you imagine firing a cannon on Earth and like fire it very fast, and you would see the cannon, go to a certain distance and then just slowly curve and fall to the Earth, right? So I think Newton did this thought experiment where, say you fire it fast enough and it goes really far and then it would again drop. So what would be the velocity at which the cannonball has to travel so that the rate at which it tries to fall is actually the rate at which the Earth curves? So at that point, it will always try to keep falling, but it would never fall to Earth because Earth would curve away from it. So basically, that's the orbital velocity. And yeah, that's what basically Jeff Bezos or Richard Branson, they did. And it was not because of that the space is, they're in space and like there's no gravity. No, it was because they're constantly falling towards Earth.
That's crazy, no? Like, I mean, it puts a different perspective on things. You kind of... Yeah, I mean, apart from the actual science of it, even taking it in a sense of literature, like, it's a way of looking at something differently. And I find that part also fascinating.
Yeah, definitely.
And speaking of... for those of y'all who might have missed it this week, so basically, both of the billionaires had their first space flight from their companies and stuff, and they're going to be offering tickets to experience the same thing. I mean, since you asked about how much it would cost, I think it was around $250,000 or $300,000 that they're starting off with. And yeah, I think I read somewhere that it was even, I think they got enough registrations or something to reach like 100 mil. So pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, we know that for sure people are interested. Like everyone wants to go to space. It's just the money that's the barrier. And when you try to reduce the cost of the ticket, I feel like you increase a whole lot of this, unlock the whole lot of demographic that who can afford to go to space, basically,
Yeah.
as and when you keep decreasing the price.
Yeah, and when I think of it, I think of like, I mean, when we travel now, we kind of get something back, like souvenirs or some fridge magnets
Mm.
or, photographs or something like that, and print them out and put them on our wall or something like that. And when I think about taking artifacts about the spacecraft, like in the case of Jeff Bezos, I think he took Amelia Earhart's glasses and a piece of canvas from the Wright brothers aircraft and stuff.
Oh.
And I mean, it's kind of funny because Amelia Earhart actually was just disappeared in one of her flights, so it wasn't the best omen, but
Oh.
but yeah. I mean, it's interesting. Imagine like taking something there and getting it back, and like this was actually in space.
Yeah, yeah.
So getting a souvenir back from there, or like a rock from the moon, or some dust from Mars.
That's true. But let me ask you this: like, we know that this had happened 60 years back with a NASA astronaut. They had done this, but why all this fuss right now? Why do you think there is all this fuss?
Well, I think something in the experiencing it yourself is quite different than. I mean, there is obviously a humanity first, like, oh, we've done this, but something about experiencing it yourself. But yeah, I don't know about the whole billionaire race about going to space. I don't know about that. But for me, it's like, I want to experience it myself and see how it feels like and see the curvature of the earth and look down upon it. And I think it kind of takes me to that overview effect, which we discussed on one of our earlier episodes.
Yeah, yeah.
So, like, do you think, okay, fine, let me ask you this. Do you think that it will change humanity as a whole to experience space? What if it became as regular as like our normal passenger aircrafts and people got to go on it and became quite affordable? Do you think it will change humanity's perspective, make people more, I don't know, kind to each other? Because it's long been said that astronomy is a humbling science. So, do you think that will happen?
Yeah, I feel that probably might happen when we start going out into space and landing on something, at least a moon, our moon, or Mars. That's next. But maybe just going into that orbit and coming back and experiencing it for just 12 minutes, it definitely will be a lifetime experience for sure. But I'm not very convinced that it might change humanity as whole. But maybe it's gonna change. This dogs.
I think they get to know when we're recording.
Yeah. And just so you guys know, even dogs have been to space. Wait. So I think for the people to whom this experience is going to change a lot, I think is for flat earthers. So they can finally get to see the curvature of the earth and then think that, okay, fine.
Oh man.
It's actually spherical or geoid or whatever.
I bet that after that also some of them are going to say like, oh no, that was some kind of
some
I don't know,
holographic
like, yeah
yeah, projection. We weren't into space. That was a green screen.
Yeah, let's not go there. I can't believe like some people, I don't know what is the motivation behind making that argument, like. But anyways.
Okay, so wait, so the reason I asked you that we had done the 60 years back and with a NASA astronaut and why all this was right now is because I feel that this has opened a new industry. Like, this is the frontier and we can see it emerging in our lifetimes. So I'm imagining our parents or grandparents, they would be the ones to see the first planes leave, and it would be during their time. And now, in our generation, I think we would be the first persons to see people going to space for recreational purpose and not for some scientific experiments like NASA or ISRO, like that. So yeah, I like, for me, it's pretty exciting that I'm getting to witness that.
Yeah, I mean, funny that you should mention. I was just thinking about it, like, when we decided to do this episode, that, like, the Wright brothers in 1903, they flew their aircraft like the proper successful time was like they flew it for 59 seconds.
Oh.
And it was probably the first, I mean, it is probably the first time that humanity ever stepped off the ground for such a long period of time ever, right? Like in the thousands of years that we've occupied this planet.
Yeah.
And just like 118 years from then, now we have companies that are willing to take us into space for like, you buy a ticket and you get to go. I mean, it's really something that I think it's a pretty fast timeline. And who knows, like maybe within like a decade or something, it will be like to the moon or even further. Like it will be possible in our lifetimes, right? Because we're having passenger flights as early as next year and stuff. So
Yeah. I certainly hope so.
yeah. And I was just thinking like, you know, when I think about traveling and the kind of things we get to do when we travel to a different place, I mean, who knows, in this new age, maybe you could trek Olympus Mons on Mars, which is like the largest planetary mountain in the solar system. And like you'd book your tickets and, catch your spacecraft and touch down on a point somewhere close to the base of the mountain and then take 2 weeks to trek it and then come back to Earth. Or you could go on a submarine ride in the subsurface ocean of Europa. Or you could camp on one of the moons of Saturn with like a promise of the best sunrise in the solar system where you see the sun rising above the rings on the horizon. So you never know, like, who knows, there might be like these travel companies that will set these kind of trips up promising the best experience. And it might actually just happen in our lifetimes.
Damn. Those scenes are like kind of ingrained in me right now, even though I haven't actually seen those moons or Europa or whatever. But damn, I'm kind of jealous of our next generation.
Yeah, I think it kind of goes back to what you were discussing, right? Too early, too late to explore the planet and too early to explore the universe. But who knows, with this milestone achieved, this could happen. And I'm just looking forward to it happening as fast as possible.
Yeah, me too. Okay, this actually reminds me of recent news that I read that they're actually planning to, launch a space hotels.
What?
And this is gonna be up by 2027, according to their timeline. It's called the Voyager Station.
Like as in like ISS or?
Yeah, something like that. It has that
Damn.
circular spinning thing to create artificial gravity, just like our sci-fi movies. And
Oh,
it's
okay.
estimated to house around 280 guests.
But dude, like 2027 sounds like super close.
I know, right? Like when I just said it out loud, it's just like, okay, 2027, but it's just like 6 years from now.
Yeah, we could be speaking from, I don't know, a few years from then, we could be talking from some other planet to
Yeah.
each other.
Hopefully.
So that kind of also reminds me of like movies like Ad Astra. Have you seen it?
Yeah, with Brad Pitt, right?
Yeah. And I mean, no spoilers for everyone listening in, but watch the movie. It's a great movie. And what I kind of wanted to do is make you listen to the one part of this movie which really gives a experience of that feeling of, okay, this is a part of our solar system and yet it's within and without reach, kind of. So I'm just gonna play it out.
Okay.
Last manned outpost in our solar system. Duration 19 days, 14 hours, and 33 minutes.
Damn. That actually feels like I'm traveling in space and I'm headed to my destination and the stuff that you hear at airports for space.
So that basically is like when they take off from the moon and they're going towards Mars. And what he says is, Earth's our research station Mars, the last manned outpost in our solar system.
Mm.
And for me, that word outpost and the last manned outpost in our solar system just makes it seem like it seems local. You know what I mean? Like, it seems within our reach.
Yeah, it seems very grounded.
Yeah, exactly. And kind of gives you that cosmic perspective. Okay, that's where you're at. And yeah, so that movie and that part, it's like that dialogue is something that stuck with me and stayed with me and gives those feels, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. And this actually makes me think that we could actually be seeing space right now. And in fact, we are in during night, but during the daytime, we just see the sky and we think that we're not seeing the space. But if you think about it, sky is just like a bunch of particles, which it just makes that hazy blue color because it scatters the sun's light. But if we didn't have that atmosphere, we would see the sun and the night sky at the same time, even during the day, without our atmosphere. Can you imagine how that would have been?
If the sun wasn't so bright, right?
No, no, no. It doesn't matter if the sun is bright or not. If we just didn't have the atmosphere, there would be nothing to scatter that light.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, that's what. Okay, that's
Yeah.
what you mean. Damn, that's something. So it would just like be another star in the sky, but like really bright.
Yeah, exactly.
Bigger.
It would seem exactly like when you, let's say you launch from Earth and you're trying to go to space straight. Okay? At some point you will cross the sky and you will see all the stars and the night.
It starts appearing.
Yeah, you'll see the stars appearing and there's dark everywhere, but you still see the sun also. But that doesn't mean that all the stars
Right.
are dimmed out or something. But because there is nothing else there to scatter the light, you see the sun and also all the stars and planets over there. So it would be like that if we didn't have any atmosphere on Earth.
Yeah, I'm trying to imagine that now. Basically, how it would kind of look like. But that's what I want to experience when I go. Like, I want to be able to look outside and see everything the way it's supposed to be seen. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Like, no interference, no effects from anything, and just experience it the way it is.
exactly.
No filters, no nothing.
And that would be something else.
Yeah. And actually, that reminds me of this movie, Passengers. Have you seen it?
Yeah, yeah. With Chris Pratt.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? Like to think of someday as a relocation to another galaxy, you could, travel in that state of sleep. And okay, a bit of a spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't watched it. So there is this part where they take a spacewalk and they literally just step off the spaceship and just kind of like fall into empty space. I mean, they're already tethered to the spacecraft by a hook and stuff. Like the suit is tethered, but it was just crazy, that visual. And if you see it on the bigger screen, it's amazing. And there's also this part where they're at a swimming pool, like in a swimming pool, and the background is like this glass, and beyond it you can see the stars and the galaxy and stuff. And those scenes just look unreal. And it makes me think that if we traveled like that, like how that movie shows it, it would be crazy. Like it would be hell of an experience.
Yeah, definitely. I still remember that scene where you mentioned, right? Like they step off the spaceship, but still tethered. Yeah, the visuals are really great. You guys definitely have to check that out.
And I was just thinking, like, I mean, the kind of stuff that happens now, for example, I don't know, like the movie Titanic, right? Like how he gets onto the ship is by he wins a card game and gets his tickets on the Titanic and it changes his life.
Hmm.
And I mean, ignoring the bleak ending, kind of. But imagine maybe someday somebody would be waging a bet and they would win their tickets on the spacecraft by winning a card game or something like that and get to travel to another galaxy and forever change their life. Isn't that thought awesome? Like,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
think.
Damn, I know, right? I mean, this even resonated with me when Jennifer Lawrence in Passengers, she explains that her character over there is to, just go there and write a kind sort of like a blog about it. Like she's a journalist and she was documenting the procedure that she was documenting basically their journey and how they would go there and start a new life over there and populate the new planet. So that felt very,
Oh man.
yeah,
Yeah. It's crazy to think even, I mean, if I may say so, it makes even boring professions sound interesting. So,
definitely.
yeah.
So it sounds ambitious, but with the things that are happening now with space tourism, space hotels, and all that stuff, it seems like a possibility in the near future.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't know, I'm just like kind of dreaming about it now. And I think, I don't know, maybe in a long time, there'll be trips to edges of black holes, and maybe it'll be like one of those special experiences, probably a little more expensive or a little more dangerous, and only if you're ready for it. Like, like everyone goes for a trek and everyone goes hiking and stuff, but only like a few can kind of climb Mount Everest, or some of the other tougher expeditions that they take on. So I'm just thinking, like, what would be the space equivalent of that? Maybe trips to runaway stars, or trying to chase a comet, or something like that.
Damn. Or even hitch a
Yeah.
hike on a asteroid.
Whoa. Pretty crazy.
I know, man. I always imagine like we could use an asteroid and carve it out inside and use it as a hotel, like a traveling hotel.
Like a cave,
Yeah,
like a
exactly.
space cave.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Damn. Yeah. And I was actually kind of thinking about this one thing. I mean, I was just like kind of daydreaming about it and thinking how it would be and how you'd manage that and how it would feel like the experience, right?
Hmm.
And I was just thinking, like, if you travel to another galaxy one day, maybe there'd be like how we send stuff through post or something like that, and maybe there'd be like a galactic pin code, or okay, like a galaxy code or something like that.
Oh,
Like, I don't know, like M31 Alpha 96872 or something, where like the first part represents the galaxy and the alpha represents which cluster or which star or which constellation,
yeah.
and then in that which planet and so on and stuff. It'd be so crazy, right? To
I
have that
know.
kind of an address.
Yeah, damn. And I don't think we would be using light to communicate because even it probably would take light years to get over there. So something like quantum entanglement. So it's instantaneous.
Damn. Okay. Yeah, I don't know much about that, but sounds intriguing. I think they made some recent progress in that also, no?
Yeah. They actually put it into application, and there was a satellite which had like a server over there, and we used to control it in ground. And yeah, they transfer the information, and it was instantaneous.
Yeah, probably need another episode for that.
Definitely. Space communication.
Yeah. I was just thinking, like, what if we, during the course of like landing on some planet or discovering something new, or like the first planet outside of the solar system that we ever land on, it would probably be hard to know a lot about it because of the distance and size. But what if we land on it and run into aliens or some kind of life over there that we didn't expect?
Oh, damn.
I'm just trying to think of like, yeah, like when you explore, there's always that sense of something new and unknown and dangerous.
Yeah,
And I think that applies to space also, obviously.
definitely.
So, yeah, man. Again, that probably is another whole episode.
Yeah. Don't get me started on aliens.
Yeah, we should. We should talk about that though. Oh man.
Recently I was watching a video on YouTube, which was one of the TEDx talks. So there was this guy, I think he's around 30 years, in his mid 30s probably. He traveled around the world with almost like zero money or very less amount of money. So I was just watching him tell about how he made money and how he spent almost like 5 6 years like traveling the world. And in the middle of it, like he would actually start working and he would start volunteering, and so he would get like free accommodation from those people. He sailed through Indian Ocean for free because he told that okay, he would just see the night shifts and he would do some basic chores basically, and they just let him travel for free. So just that, I'm trying to translate it on a cosmic perspective. What if in the future we have all this travel to other solar system, all this intergalactic travel, and his life wasn't just that it was vacationing and he spent 5 years vacationing and then he got into his usual life. No, it was his life. It was to travel. It was to explore. And what if even us, when space tourism is on an intergalactic level, we could probably go to another planets or the moons of other planets, asteroids, and just explore it. And maybe just like him, we could even do some odd jobs, like say mining an asteroid and getting some money to hitch a ride to the next planet or the moon of some other planet. And it won't be like a vacation, but that would be our entire life, just to go out and explore and see different worlds, basically.
Man, that would be crazy. When you said mining an asteroid, I was just like, I want to do that.
I know, right?
If it lets me hitchhike and take a ride to another planet or something, I'd be up for that.
Exactly. And let's say, sorry, I did that. And let's say you don't get to travel in a luxurious space vehicle or something, but you have to travel in one of those asteroids, which is however headed in that direction. So that would probably be like your low cost travel. And
Yeah.
yeah, you would just get a ride on it.
Let's just hope it happens in our lifetimes.
I seriously hope so.
Yeah. But I used to think thinking really futuristically, I used to wonder if we can sometimes put together a sort of video of what we see, or even maybe see the history of our planet. Like, for example, right now, let's say really far away, some star is having a blast and going supernova, and we see a little of it. Like, we just see maybe, with the best instruments also, we can't put together the proper picture of it. But what if we had a way to kind of gather all the light that has gone off in different directions, gather all of it, and kind of put together a 3D visual of what happened exactly, like capturing a actual 3D video of what happened. And if we extend that same logic to kind of, if we traveled really far and somehow managed to get to a point which was beyond, like, really, really far and faster than light. I know it's not possible, but what if it was? And you could see the light coming to you from Earth that was as old as when the dinosaurs walked on it. And you could kind of watch the video of the planet evolving, kind of fast forward it and see what exactly happened and what it went through and how humans evolved and developed everything. Like, I used to think about this when I was a kid.
Exactly. I used to think like, what if I can go to some other planet which is like say 65 million light years away, like probably instantaneously using warp drive or some sort of sciencey stuff like that.
Yeah, I know, right?
And yeah, use the telescope and look at Earth. So we would literally be seeing dinosaurs.
Oh,
But
man.
another possibility is that we could probably go to some other planet, which is say 65,000 or 65 million light years away, say meet a bunch of aliens who have already done that, who have already recorded or documented this process, and we could just, ask them to play it for us.
Man, that'd be crazy. Probably not the first thing I would ask them, but
Yeah, if you even get a chance to ask them anything.
for sure. Okay, I think we'll end it here. I hope this conversational journey was as intriguing for everyone listening in as it was for us. And I hope that some of the stuff we discuss actually happens in our lifetimes so that you, me, and everyone can experience it and feel that awe of space. So yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. And if you're listening to us on YouTube, you can leave your comments down below. And if you're listening on Spotify or Apple or Google, feel free to reach out to us on Instagram at Curiosphere. See you guys on the next episode. Have a good one.